Okay, stop scrolling for a second. Right now, you're probably slouched somewhere warm, holding a slab of glass, breathing air you didn't have to fight anyone for. You stubbed your toe last week and you're basically over it. You had a paper cut and it sealed itself shut while you weren't even looking. You have, statistically, survived every single thing that has ever tried to end you, up to and including this exact moment. Congratulations. That's a longer undefeated streak than it sounds. Now strip the room away. No walls, no shoes, no glass slab. It's 100,000 years ago. You're standing on an open plain in the dark, and something with actual teeth has just decided you look like dinner. You have no claws. No fangs worth mentioning. You can't outrun almost anything out here. By every obvious measure, you are a soft, slow, pink snack with a big fragile head and a truly optimistic attitude about your odds. And yet, here you are, descended, without a single break in the chain, from the ones who made it. Not one of your direct ancestors died before passing you along. Not one, going back millions of years, an unbroken relay of survivors, handing the baton forward, under conditions that killed almost everything else. Which raises a question almost nobody actually stops to ask, because we're too busy complaining about our backs. Why are humans so ridiculously, stubbornly, almost embarrassingly hard to kill? Because we really are. And the answer is so much weirder, and so much more flattering to you personally, than we got lucky. The thing keeping you alive right now is prehistoric, and it is still running, quietly, inside your body, whether you asked it to or not. There are at least 6 of these systems, stacked on top of each other, and by the end of this you're going to look at your own hands a little differently. Let's go. Start with the most obvious thing, the thing you'd think would make us fragile. We are not built for a fight. Not even a little. A chimpanzee, pound for pound, is somewhere around 1.5 times stronger than you. A chimp your exact size would fold you like a lawn chair. A leopard could disassemble you in about 4 seconds and would not break a sweat doing it. We shed our fur. We traded our fangs for tiny flat teeth that are frankly embarrassing on a predator. We stood up on 2 legs and lifted our soft undersides, our guts, our throats, right up into the daylight where anything could get at them. On paper, evolution looks like it was actively trying to get us killed and just kept doubling down. You'd think that would be the end of the story. But here's where the story flips, because we didn't win by being tougher in the fight. We won by refusing to be in the fight at all. Meet the single most underrated superpower your species has. You do not overheat. Almost every other large animal on the savanna carries its cooling system on the inside, panting through its mouth, dumping heat in ragged little breaths, and panting has a hard ceiling built right into it. You cannot pant and gallop at the same time. The rhythm of the lungs slams into the rhythm of the legs, and one of them has to give. So a big predator sprints, and it is genuinely magnificent to watch, all that muscle and speed, and then it has to stop, mouth open, sides heaving, cooking gently from the inside like a covered pot. You, meanwhile, are covered head to toe in something almost no other mammal has in anything like this quantity. Sweat glands. Millions of them. You are a walking radiator, with the fur deliberately removed to let the heat pour off your skin. You do not stop to cool down. You cool down while you keep going. Read that again, because it's the whole trick. Everything else has to choose between moving and cooling. You do both at once. Put those 2 facts together, and you get one of the most quietly terrifying things a human body can do. It's called persistence hunting, and it worked like this. You didn't catch the antelope. Nobody's catching an antelope in a foot race. Don't be ridiculous. You followed it. It bolted. Easy, gone. Way faster than you. A blur of legs. And then, minutes later, it had to stop and pant. You just walked. You caught up. It saw you coming and bolted again. You walked again. Hour after hour. Under the noon sun. In the exact brutal conditions that force every other animal on the plain to lie down in the shade and shut off. You kept moving. You tracked it. You read the ground. And eventually, the animal that was faster than you in every single burst simply overheated, staggered, and collapsed. And you strolled up, still sweating, still fine, and did what you came to do. You didn't beat it with speed. You didn't beat it with strength. You beat it with time. You are, and I mean this as the highest possible compliment, the horror movie villain of the animal kingdom. You never run. You just never, ever stop. And here's the part that should give you a little shiver of pride, because that engine did not get switched off when we moved into houses. It's still in you. The reason a trained human can run a marathon, 26.2 miles, on purpose, for fun, and then post about it, is the exact same cooling and endurance system your ancestors used to chase dinner across a continent. There is essentially no other animal on Earth you could talk into that. A horse can't do it, a dog can't do it. When your legs are burning at mile 20 and some ancient stubborn part of your brain says, keep going anyway, that is not a motivational poster. That's the persistence hunter waking up. That instinct is 100,000 years old, and it's yours, sitting there idling, whether you ever use it or not. Now about what happens when something does land a hit. Because staying out of the fight is a great plan, right up until the day it isn't. And out there, eventually, it isn't. And this is where humans reveal a second, sneakier kind of toughness, one that has nothing to do with running. We are absurdly, almost unreasonably good at not dying from being broken. Consider blood. When you cut yourself, a genuinely bananas emergency response fires off in under a minute, and you don't have to do a single thing to start it. Cells called platelets swarm the wound, clump together into a sticky plug, and then trigger a chemical cascade, a chain reaction with more than a dozen precise steps, each one setting off the next, that spins ordinary liquid blood into a solid mesh, sealing the leak before you've even finished saying, ow. Think about how insane that is. You have a self-repairing hull. It patches its own holes automatically, in real time, while you're distracted by literally anything else. Most of the time you don't even notice it happening, which is exactly the point. A good repair system is one you never have to think about, and that's just the outer wall. Underneath it, you are running the single most sophisticated defense network on the entire planet. And you have never once said thank you. Right now, as you sit there half listening, an uncountable army inside you is hunting down invaders you will never see, remembering the exact shape of every enemy it has ever met, and manufacturing custom weapons to order for each new threat. You catch a cold, you feel awful for a few days, you complain to everyone, and then your immune system quietly files a permanent report so that specific intruder can never hurt you the same way twice. It is why one bout of certain illnesses buys you a lifetime of protection. You are, at this exact moment, winning thousands of tiny wars you are not even aware you're fighting. You've been undefeated since the day you were born. You just weren't invited to watch the battles. Here's a stat that should genuinely stop you for a second. Every single day, inside your own body, cells make copying mistakes. A lot of them. And a fraction of those mistakes are the dangerous kind. The kind that could, if left alone, turn into something that kills you. And every single day, a patrol inside you finds them and quietly shuts them down before they ever get the chance to become a problem. Let that sink in. Your body catches and kills things that could end you on a completely routine basis, dozens of times over, and it does not even send you a notification about it. The reason you're alive tonight is not that nothing ever goes wrong inside you. It's that 100 things go wrong every day and get handled, silently, by a system so old and so absurdly good that you forgot it was even there. Then there's the machine underneath all of it, the frame itself. And bone is where humans hide a trick that genuinely surprises people. We think of the skeleton as a dead scaffold, a coat rack we hang the meat on, the thing that shows up in cartoons after the anvil drops. It is the exact opposite of dead. Your bones are living tissue, laced with blood vessels and nerves, constantly being torn down and rebuilt cell by cell your whole life. Which is why the thing that sounds like a total disaster, a broken bone, is, for a human, closer to a routine repair job than a death sentence. Snap a dry branch and it stays snapped forever. It's done. Snap a human femur, and, given enough time and a chance to rest, it doesn't just knit back together. In the exact spot where it broke, it very often comes back thicker, denser, stronger than the bone around it. Your body treats a catastrophic injury as a written note to go reinforce that wall. Try to picture almost any machine you own doing that. Your phone, your car, anything. You can't, because they can't. You are the only kind of machine that gets tougher exactly where it got hit. And it isn't just impact you shrug off. It's scarcity. Here's something that sounds like a weakness, and is secretly a superpower. You can go a shockingly long time without food. A hummingbird is hours from starving at any given moment. It has to eat almost constantly, or it dies. You are the opposite kind of machine. When the food runs out, your body calmly flips a switch, stops running on the meal you didn't get, and starts burning its own stored fuel instead. The reserves it quietly packed away for exactly this. A healthy person can survive weeks with no food at all, running the whole time on batteries they didn't even know they were charging. That fat you keep trying to get rid of? For almost all of human history, that was a savings account, a buffer against the bad season, the reason the group made it to spring when the hunting failed. Your body was built to expect that the good times would end, and to hoard against it without asking you first. It is a machine designed, from the ground up, to keep running when the fuel stops coming. And your durability isn't just about damage or hunger, it's about where you can survive at all. Look at where humans actually live. Freezing tundra, scorching desert, airless mountains, steaming jungle. We are the only large animal that spread into basically every environment on the planet without waiting to evolve a new body for each one. A polar bear can't move to the desert. A camel can't move to the Arctic. You could put a human in either, give them a few tools and a little knowledge, and they'd figure it out by next week. We are the great generalists, the animal that fits everywhere because it refuses to be specialized into a corner. That flexibility is its own kind of toughness, the toughness of never being trapped in one place when the world changes underneath you. Now here's where everything you think you know about being weak gets quietly dismantled, because we've spent this whole time describing you as this delicate, hairless, clawless little thing, and that framing was a setup. It's a lie. The single most important survival organ you own is the exact one that made you look weak in the first place. That big, fragile, expensive, oversized brain. It cost you an absolute fortune to run. Around a fifth of all the energy your body burns goes to a lump that's roughly 2% of your total weight. And for a long time you'd have looked at that trade and called it completely insane. Why on earth would you carry a hungry, heavy, breakable thing around on top of your neck? A thing that needs constant feeding and can be ended by one bad fall. Because that brain is the reason you never had to grow claws in the first place. You don't have fangs, so you invented the spear. You don't have thick fur, so you took the fur off something that did and wore it. You can't see in the dark. You made fire and stole the night back. You can't smell water from a mile off. You're not strong, you're not fast. Your night vision is a joke, and none of it ever mattered, because you could remember. You could plan ahead. You could look at a herd of animals and, for the first time in the entire history of life on this planet, one of the animals could look back and think about tomorrow. You could tell the person standing next to you exactly where the water was without them ever having seen it, using nothing but sounds coming out of your mouth. Every other animal out there walks around with only the body it was born with. You walk around with the body plus every good idea any human has ever had and managed to pass on before they died. That is the real weapon, not the claws you don't have. The thing that looked at those claws and decided, coolly, that you didn't need them. And that points straight at the deepest reason of all, the one that quietly beats every single trick I've listed so far. Because a lone human, if we're being honest, is not actually that hard to kill. Drop one person out there alone, in the dark, no fire, no group, no one coming, and they're in real trouble, and no amount of sweat glands or clever bone healing is going to save them. But here's the thing, we were almost never alone. The true answer to why are humans so hard to kill isn't your body at all. Your body is just the opening act. The real answer is that there was never, ever just one of you. A wolf that gets badly injured usually dies, and dies fast. It can't hunt, so it can't eat, so that's simply the end of the story for that wolf. An injured human gets carried, gets fed, gets watched over and kept warm, while the wound slowly closes and the bone thickens back up. We have found ancient skeletons, real people, thousands of years gone, who survived injuries so severe, broken so badly, that they could not possibly have gathered or hunted a single meal for themselves for months on end. Which means, plainly and unavoidably, that someone else fed them, someone stayed, someone sat with them through the worst of it and did not leave. That is a fossil of compassion, sitting there in the ground, and it is one of the most human things anyone has ever dug up. We didn't just survive as bodies. We survived as a promise not to leave each other behind. And that, right there, is the reflex that actually saved the species. Not fight or flight. The other one. The one nobody puts on a poster. The one that makes you turn and run toward the person who's hurt, instead of away from them. The one that makes a total stranger dive into freezing water for a kid they have never met and will never see again. The reason you feel an actual physical pull to help someone in trouble, even when it costs you something, even when part of your brain is screaming that it's dangerous, that is not weakness, and it is not just good manners your parents drilled into you. That is the single most successful survival strategy in the entire history of your species, and it is still firing inside you, right now, exactly on schedule, whether the situation calls for it or not. Now, I have to be straight with you about one thing, because it's the exact kind of story that gets repeated so many times that everyone just quietly assumes it's the whole truth. That heroic image I gave you earlier, a lean band of hunters running an antelope into the ground under the punishing noon sun, persistence hunting, is real. It genuinely happened. It's been documented in living memory, but it was never the main event. It was rare, exhausting, brutal, and almost certainly a last resort you'd only pull out when the easier options had failed. Most of the calories that actually kept your ancestors alive, day in and day out, did not come from an epic chase at all. They came from gathering. From knowing which roots were food and which ones would kill you, which berries, which grubs, which mushrooms, where the good stuff grew, and exactly when it would be ready. The truly unkillable human is not mainly the sprinter with the spear and the six-pack. It's the one who quietly knew 10,000 things about the land, and shared them, and came home. The dramatic version is true. It's just not the whole truth. And honestly, the boring version, the patient one, the knowledgeable one, is arguably the more impressive of the two, because it's the one that kept far, far more people alive. So let's bring absolutely all of this together, because not one of these tricks is the answer on its own. It's the stack that does it. You have an engine that quietly outlasts everything faster than you, a hull that repairs its own holes before you even notice the damage, an invisible standing army that wins entire wars you will never hear a word about, a skeleton that comes back stronger in the exact place where it broke, a body that shrugs off deserts and mountains and ice with a little help, a brain that let you skip every single physical upgrade your body never got, and wrapped around all of it, holding the whole thing together, a group that flatly refused to let you die alone in the dark. Any one of those, on its own, and you're just another animal with an interesting party trick. All of them, together, layered, each one backing up the others when it fails. That is the hardest thing to kill this planet has ever managed to produce. Not the strongest thing, not the fastest thing. The one that would not quit patched itself up on the move, and always, always had someone waiting to carry it home. So come all the way back to the start with me. You, slouched somewhere warm, basically over your stub toe, statistically undefeated against everything the universe has ever thrown at you. That is not an accident, and it is not luck, and it never was. Every single one of those survival systems is switched on inside you at this exact second. The cooling, the clotting, the immune patrol on its endless rounds, the bone quietly rebuilding, the brain doing the reading right now, and that stubborn, ancient pull to help the person next to you. You didn't earn any of it. It was handed to you, fully intact, across 100,000 years of people who managed to be hard to kill just long enough to pass the whole kit forward one more time. You are the current, undefeated, reigning champion of an unbroken winning streak that is older than every story ever told around every fire that has ever burned. So the next time you feel soft, or slow, or breakable, or like the weakest thing in the room, Remember what is actually running under the hood. You come from the ones who would not die, and you are still here, which means, so far, neither will you.